EU foreign affairs ministers, except the Hungarian minister, are in Kyiv, pledging to ensure, quote, full accountability for the war crimes Russia is accused of committing in the past 4 years. For more on their visit that started in Bucha, the city outside Kyiv, known for the massacre back in March 2022, we spoke to the Romanian Foreign Minister Oana Țoiu from Kyiv.
Yes, we have visited together Bucha, also commemorating the victims, but in the same time being witnesses to this moment of resilience and how Ukrainians have taken back occupied territory, have liberated Bucha that has been under Russian occupation with terrible war crimes. We have seen and heard stories of civilians that were simply crossing the streets, of children that were killed under Russian occupation. 400 children were kidnapped and have recently returned to the Ukrainian community. And here, the common effort to return kidnapped children back to their families, back into the community if their family did not survive that part of the war. This is something extremely important.
We saw President Zelensky travelling over in Saudi Arabia, looking elsewhere for financial support, given that 90 billion loan is still on hold. Is the relationship then a little bit awkward today because of this?
I wouldn't use that word in any sense. It's a good relationship. It's a strong partnership. And of course, we need better instruments inside the European Union also to have faster decisions. But in terms of the Middle East and the relationship between Ukraine and Middle East, we have visited this morning defense facilities, and we have seen also interceptors that are built in Ukraine to counter Shahed drones, the Iranian Russian drones that have been used in Ukraine and that are used in Ukraine, but also that are currently used in the Middle East. So what we see is something that myself and my colleagues have said for a long time, which is the fact that conflicts around the world are interconnected. And it is very important now that we also use the expertise gained through the resilience in this war by Ukraine. Also on Romanian side, for example, we have planned to build together a drone facility in Romania. This has been part of the agreements between President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Nicu Șordan 2 weeks ago in the Romanian visit.
Now, you're there physically today, but not all foreign affairs ministers from the European Union are there. What does that say about united EU support for Ukraine?
Well, some of the European foreign affairs ministers that are not here today have had previous bilateral visits. So it depends on how the schedules are in different countries. There are countries where, for example, we've just had elections and you have a caretaking government. But I would reconfirm the fact that the European Union support is strong and will continue to be that. And of course, for us as a country bordering the war, having 650 kilometers of the border, it is also very important that we move ahead with decisions such as not to allow Russian war combatants in the future to gain Schengen visas, to go ahead with the common investments at the border. For example, we're now building a highway that connects part of Romania with Cernăuți, the Ukrainian region with a strong Romanian-speaking minority, and this is part of the SAFE financing instrument, which is the European instrument, as you know, to help us build better capacity, not just in terms of defense procurement, but also dual use.